Hi, my name is Yaz.
And my name is Riaz.
Today we'd like to talk about a range of things, but the main topic we're here to talk about today is how we should use our time. Yeah, yeah,
The main things we'll be looking at really is should we be using our time for hobbies? And when does a hobby become too much time being spent on, and in fact, it becomes more like a job?
yeah. Okay. So I mean, Riaz, what do you think? How do you spend your free time, and what do you think is the best way to make use of your free time?
That's a good question, really. I think it's very easy to spend your time on things that are habitual and things that where you don't really think about are using your time the best. So, for example, for myself, I do spend a lot of time watching particular TV shows, movies, and it's a good form of relaxation. But then you've got to think about, at what point does it become you're watching someone else's life rather than you're living your own life?
Yeah, yeah. I think you're raising a very good point there. And in terms of your free time, after every day is finished, you may have 2, 3, 4 hours left in your day, and thinking about how you can best spend them. One aspect of that is relaxing, but another aspect is that's your free time for you to invest in yourself, in skills you can gain and carry forward into new aspects of life. So with that in mind, what kind of hobbies do you think would be best suited, for our listeners?
So, for example, a great skill would be rowing. For example, you're improving your fitness, you're meeting other people, so maybe
Yeah.
you're socializing more. You're improving that part of your life. It's be making yourself more of a well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
I do have to ask you though:
Yeah.
is what is the point of life in real? Is it just to do these things for the sake of doing it and increase your skill and therefore maybe increase your chances of a better job, or is it to enjoy yourself? Because in fact, am I enjoying myself the most when I'm watching a movie? Maybe not. Maybe if it was socializing more, maybe I'd enjoy myself. But on average, it's probably more. I'm more likely to enjoy myself if I just watch a TV show that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess your question is like, in terms of life, how should we know what's really best for us?
Exactly.
I mean, so I think you've raised a few good points there. One of them, like you mentioned, like it's really important for you to enjoy yourself, and then, but at the same time, should you just forget about things like your career and looking towards the future? When I think about it, like we're fairly young gentlemen, right? We may not have a lot of money, but we do have a lot of his time, and if we use that time to invest in ourselves, into providing ourselves with skills that will be useful in the future, it will be like, it's kind of like putting small amount of money in the bank very very when you're very young, and each year that the interest on that grows and grows and grows until when you're 25, when you're 30, when you're 40, you've built up such a wealth of skills that you are miles and miles ahead of the other people who've only used their free time for relaxing. You know what I mean? But having said that, I also think it's important to use your free time to in a stress-free and relaxed manner. If you're doing a hobby that you don't enjoy, then it's not really a hobby. You're gonna find it work. You're not gonna stay motivated to do it, and you sooner or later you're gonna give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings me on to my point that I wanted to raise. In fact,
Yeah.
is that in today's society we're kind of like rats, in a rat race,
Yeah.
where we're given the impression that you need this skill, you need that for your CV, you need to be involved in this. This sort of person looks better than the person who's not involved in much.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a pressure just to do these things for the sake of doing it. You kind of go for certain jobs and just for the way society views them.
Yeah.
So I kind of think it's about doing things for the sake of doing it,
Yeah.
because you kind of feel like most people would be obliged to do it, and these people are better than other people, or just doing certain hobbies because you enjoy it. I think it's hard to find people who
Balance.
actually do what they like because they enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so what you kind of to reflect on what you said there. I mean, I do want. I can't say that there's no truth in the fact that we should do some things, to better ourselves and better our CVs, because everyone wouldn't suggest it if it isn't useful in some matter of fact. But the truth is, in the world that we live in, the jobs that we're going to occupy are more than likely for most of us jobs that don't even exist yet, because we're moving into a new world where things are moving online, everything's moving online, and we're training for the jobs of yesterday, not the jobs of tomorrow. The skills that we're acquiring now are skills that, people who are old enough have told us these are skills that are important for this time in life. But we're not going to be in this time in life. We're going to be in a new generation, in a new era where new things are happening. And, the millionaires of today are all people who have kind of thought outside of the box, found things that they enjoy, that motivate them, that are a little bit different, and tagged onto them. So I think the most important thing, if you were asking me, is find a hobby which is useful to you in terms of, I'm thinking towards the future, and I'm thinking the person I want to be if I take this hobby to the fullest is something I like. And also, it's something I enjoy. It's something I could do every day or every few days, and it wouldn't bore me. It's not gonna feel like a job to me.
I can understand what you're saying, and it's true, but I think in today's society, it's very hard to find that uniqueness about yourself and follow something that you enjoy particularly. We're very swayed by what other people view as the better option.
Yeah.
And I think, like a lot of people go to the gym. How many people actually enjoy going to the gym?
Yeah.
And yes, I'd agree that it does improve your health, your fitness. But, I would say that a lot of the hobbies and the skills that, people look towards to doing and spending their time is really what they view around them. We're very influenced by what we see.
Yeah, that's true. We're kind of a product of our own environment.
And then if you're talking about, those who are successful and who are very creative, are we really going to be creative people if we're doing the same things that we see and not really thinking for ourselves about what we like and what we don't like to do?
Yeah. I really take on board what you said, and I agree with you pretty much wholeheartedly. But to anyone who's listening, and even to myself, I would say what you've said is true. But how can I find what it is that I do like, and how can I find what it is that I do really enjoy instead of following everyone else, which is probably the easy thing to do?
Yeah, I think also there's not a lot of money that governments put into, especially in UK, local governments putting into activities for grown teenagers that doesn't actually cost financially and it's a burden on the parents.
Give me examples of what you're talking about there then.
Well, I mean, for example, playing football on the weekends, I would like to enjoy to do, but it would cost my parents a fair amount to be part of a private football club. And even in school, really, and a lot of clubs and universities, you do have to go through some sort of trial. So I do find things are limited, and even creating societies can be difficult sometimes. You do need to get enough interest to make these things in universities. So I understand that it's important to be creative and unique, but I think in today's society where people are drifting towards being generic and going down through the common path, which will always be the case actually.
I guess people will always see people who they admire and inspire them and try and be like them. And like you said, we've all become very accustomed to just running this rat race where we're all following what the next person is doing. My question to you is, how do we break out of that rat race? Like, someone who's listening today might be thinking, yeah, you're right, I want to find skills that, things that I actually enjoy, hobbies that I actually enjoy, things that are for me, that everyone else isn't doing, or maybe they are doing. But how does somebody know? How does somebody find that thing? What would you say?
Well, I mean, I would say I'm still looking for myself, to be fair, but I would encourage people to try a various range of things and to not be afraid of, society's stigma or viewpoint, and just try everything that, possible. And maybe then, they'd find something they like, and maybe they could be very successful in that point.
Yeah. Actually, I had agree with you 100% there. I think you need to try things, and you need to fail at things just to know what you do like and what you don't like and what can work for you and what can't work for you. If you sit there doing nothing all day, success is never going to come and fall into your lap, and enjoyment is never going to come and fall into your lap. Fulfillment's never going to come and fall into your lap. There's a saying that you fail at 5 things. If you were a creator, your first 5 inventions would be horrible before you even had a hint of success. But that shouldn't stop you from going, and trying things out. You're gonna fail, you're gonna fall over, but you need to get up and keep going and keep trying until you find that thing that works for you.
And I think with the way society is moving with the technology advances, that it's very easy just to go down the easier route, which is, you know, go into the computer, watch some things, rather than actually try and, you know, risk it and try and see what's out there really outside of your room, outside of your house, and see what's going on in your local area. You know, I think it's far too easy in this day and age just to get, you know, fixated on things like Instagram, Snapchat, things that bring very little value to people's lives except for a little bit of dopamine release when they get a picture likes, or and, you know, they don't really, these things, like if you think about your TV shows and your favorite films, yes, you will look back and you will enjoy it, but wait, I really think that, you know, in the end, you will look back, in your favorite times will be the times you spent with people, you know, not the small things about what you watched or what you played. I don't think that really makes a big difference.
So you've kind of talked about social media a little bit there. Social media, do you think overall is more beneficial or detrimental? What do you think of its role overall?
I can't imagine a world without social media, but I don't think it is good for people. I think the fact that people would rather speak to each other through their phones, through the computer, rather than in real life, that means people are becoming less social. I think it can be quite a negative thing for certain people. There's a lot of bullying on social media these days.
Yeah.
And really, I don't think it's been regulated. There's no limitations on what can happen on social media, so I'm against it, really.
You're against it? I'd kind of like to counteract your point and say, like, I'm for social media, but I think people should moderate their use of social media because, like anything in life, it requires moderation. In excess, it's going to be harmful to you. You know, I remember the days where I could sit and scroll through Facebook for hours and hours and hours on end, going through videos and pictures of people I know, and that was destructive for me because, first of all, it was kind of shattering my self-confidence because, look, here were all these people going into the world and doing all these great things, and I was just sitting on the computer liking their pictures. I wasn't getting any real experience of my own. But at the same time, completely disconnecting from social media, you know, it doesn't allow you to share some of your great experiences and reconnect with people who are important to you, who might be too far away from you for you to see on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis. You know, I remember I've studied in, you know, places all over the world. I've studied here, I've studied in Sudan, I've lived in Dubai for a short period of time, and social media was a really good way for me to connect to people who weren't physically close to me.
I can understand that point of view, and I do see the advantage of having the internet to connect with those across the world. However, I do have to raise the point, does it matter? Because on most of us on our Facebook, we have lots of individuals who we are not close with and who share the same circles, but we necessarily don't have anything in common, or I have no desire to really connect with them.
Yeah.
Is it, I mean, we're surrounded by the need to kind of show our life. Like, do we need to show our greatest experiences with other people? I mean, is it not enough that we experienced it ourselves? And I think people go out of their way to go through these experiences just to show that they went through them. And I think, especially with Snapchat, people are just doing certain things just to show that they did it, you know, without actually enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, I can understand your point of view, but I would go for a world where people actually like meeting with each other, and actually enjoy, you know, the experiences they have rather than doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. I do find that people are becoming a little bit too preoccupied with, you know, Instagramming that, Snapchatting that, you know. When was the last time you went to a concert or an event and someone was actually there just enjoying the event rather than putting their phone out every 5 seconds and making sure they were recording everything?
No, I can understand it though. You know, you get a dopamine release in your brain that makes you want to do it again, and it's very easy to become fixated on it. It's our human nature. It can be very addictive personalities. So I can understand why it's happening, but it's just that if you've got the facility to go down that direction, humans will. You know?
Yeah. But then at the same time, don't you think it's gonna be quite hard for the average person? You know, all their friends are posting things online. Everyone is liking, commenting, and sharing each other's pictures and videos. If they're the one person that isn't, they're gonna feel like they're disconnected, and they're gonna feel like they're an outsider. Like they don't have the same social influence that everyone else does, and because of that, they're going to possibly experience some pretty negative emotions.
I can understand that point, but I mean, I would argue that most people who post these things and who are so-called in the social high ranks, and they're very social people online, aren't not happy as they seem to be online. I'd argue that people who are not part of social media, who are not affected by that, actually would have on average more happier lifestyles.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see actually like some studies of let's say there was a group that did studies of 1,000 people, right? Each would and putting them into groups based on their social media use each day, and then ranking them on a number of things like happiness, content, satisfaction with their job, satisfaction with their relationships, and things like this. And obviously, there are going to be more factors at play than just social media usage, but seeing if there is a correlation between increased social media usage and a decrease in these different factors.
Yeah, and I think that goes on to really mental health, which I think is not really talked about in this day and time, when it really does play a big factor. I mean, most of us are either living for happiness or living for a particular god. Or religion, and so those are the two main things. And if we're talking about happiness, then shouldn't we really be thinking about, okay, what makes us happy, what do we think we want, and what do we actually would be actually beneficial for us, for our mental health as well as physical health. I think understanding that is one of the most important things, really, rather than looking for money or looking for success. Just trying to understand exactly why do we think the way we think, what can make us feel better if we're trying to be happy in this life.
It's kind of understanding ourselves better,
our psychology and what we think.
I think it would be great for us to be able to understand our own psychology more, but it's often the hardest thing is to learn about yourself. And what methods would you employ to learn more about yourself, and more about your own psychology?
Well, I mean, recently last year I was involved in a mindfulness group activity with my university, and
tell us about that.
We would every week we would come to a meeting where we'd all kind of sit down, and the tutor would play a particular background noise, and we'd focus on what we're feeling and then actually identify what exactly we're feeling, because I think so often we're kind of caught in jobs we have to do, in tasks we have to do, that we don't actually stop to think, okay, how is this making us feel? And I think if we're more in control of what we're thinking, maybe we can actually act better upon that and decide what is actually best for us, rather than jumping for the next thing that just catches our eyes.
So I think we've kind of moved away quite a little bit from what we started talking about, but I think this has been a pretty nice little chat that we've had. We've covered a range of topics.
And I understand why you think we moved away, but actually, if you think about it, we're talking about how to choose the best hobby for ourselves. And how can we choose the best hobby for ourselves if we don't understand how we feel about certain things, and how we feel about ourselves and other people? So I understand that mindfulness is quite a long-term goal and not something that changes overnight, but I do think it could play a part in improving someone's life.
There's actually this great app called Headspace. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a mindfulness app that lets you write down your thoughts, your ideas, and kind of clear your head. It's kind of like an app for your brain, and I'd really recommend. Actually, it was recommended to me by a friend. I'd recommend to everyone out there to give it a try. And things like mindfulness, these are new. I don't want to say new things, but things we haven't heard so much about, and I think are probably all worth giving it a try. And if you don't like them, that's fair enough. But at least you've given it a try. With everything in life, you want to experience as much as you can, so you can make the most informed decision about your own welfare, your own well-being. I
think you said it perfectly. Thank you for listening, and if you have any comments, please comment below, like our page. Thank you very much.
Thanks.